We're going to set up a double knit pocket here. We've got regular stocking stitch, single layer stocking stitch, but we want to work a double knit pocket from the open end of the pocket. So what we need is a temporary holder for our stitches. So I have worked the number of stitches that I need for my pocket in waste yarn in a contrasting colour. We'll talk more about these little flaps of waste yarn and how they differ from one another later. So first thing I have to do is just get my stitches, my double set of stitches set up. I'm going to slip to my pocket position, so this pocket is going to be 4 stitches from the edge. And I want my pocket back stitches ahead of my pocket front stitches. So this is a pocket stitch, but I'm also going to slip it. Now I'm going to take his partner front stitch, and I'm going to take that from these temporary stitches. Now I'm going to tuck my needle into the next pocket stitch and the next pocket front stitch. So pocket back, pocket front, and we slip them across in pairs. Pocket back, pocket front. You can do them one at a time, but as you can see, you can actually do them quite nicely in pairs. And I'm just slipping them across purlwise. So now, instead of making twins, which is the normal way of starting a double knit pocket when you start from the fixed end of the pocket, I've actually inserted twins by adding in an extra piece of knitting. This can be removed later, or it can be used for a pocket top. I've knit to the pocket position, so that's my 4 plain stitches, and now I'm going to do a row across my pocket front. So this is going to be pocket row 1, and I just want to knit the front of pocket stitches, not the back ones. So I'm going to slip the first stitch of the pocket with the yarn in front, and then knit one. Slip with yarn in front, knit one. You could also call this yarn forward slip one, knit one. We don't have to say yarn back before the knit one because it's implied. You have to take the yarn back in order to knit. So all I'm working across this row are the pink pocket front stitches, and I'm slipping the pocket back stitches with yarn in front so that my 2 layers will still open. And my pocket began with the back stitch, so it ends with the front stitch, and I've got 4 stitches left on the other side. If you had a wider fabric, you could put a marker to indicate the beginning and end of your pocket position. It's very easy to begin and end 1 stitch too soon. Now we're going to turn the work around. We've done 1 row on the pocket front. Now I want to work on the pocket back only. So I'm going to slip the first stitch, which belongs to the front, and purl the second because we want to maintain that stocking stitch fabric. And I can speed this up by doing the slip purl action. So I can go into the stitch that needs to be slipped and the one that needs to be purled, and then pull my left needle tip out. The easiest way of doing this is to pull the left needle out so that the stitch that needs to slip actively drops off the needle and springs away. The temptation is to bring the needle round and try and squeeze it between the 2 strands of yarn. It sort of works, but you run the greater risk of tangling things up. And here's the last pair. Very near the left needle tip, you see the left needle tip is moving until that outside stitch drops off. So now I've done 1 row on the pocket back. Now I'm going to turn the work again and do row 3, which is just pocket front again. So this is a back stitch, so I'm going to slip it with the yarn in front and work just as we did before. Slip one with yarn in front, knit one. Slip one with yarn in front, knit one. I'm only knitting the front layer. I'm nearly at the left edge of the pocket now, so complete the last pair, which always ends with a pocket front stitch. But this time we're going to go all the way on to the left edge of the knitting, because it's no good having a beautiful pocket if you don't have some fabric to go with it on either side. So I've done one row on the left side now. I'm going to turn the whole thing round and work back across the back again, from one edge to the other. And now I'm to the pocket position, so I must slip the front one and purl the back one. And keep on going until I've completed all my pocket pairs. And this time I need to keep on going all the way to the left edge. And on completion of those 4 rows, my right hand side of my fabric's grown by 2 rows, my front of my fabric's grown by 2 rows, the back of my pocket has grown by 2 rows, and the left side of my knitting has grown by 2 rows. So if I repeat those 4 rows over and over again, I'm going to get a deeper and deeper pocket. It can be hard to tell where you are on a pocket like this, but there are some signs we can look for. Is this a row 3 or is it a row 1? Let's see if we can tell. I'm slipping my far layer. Now here's the last stitch of the pocket front, and I can see from its angle that it wasn't taken all the way to the left edge. This must be a pocket row 3, because on row 1 we would have turned and gone back to the other side again. It's only on row 3 that the yarn goes across to the left edge. So by looking to see where the yarn went on the previous row gives you a clue. I can also tell that for every pair of rows I work on the front, I get 2 rows on the pocket, and I've got 1 set of rows there, 1, 2, and this completes my second set of front rows. So now I know that I'm ready for row 4, because row 4 is the only row that starts at the left hand edge. Here's a pocket that now is ready to be closed. So there's our pocket top, and there's the 2 layers, and you can see how dense the stitches are in the area where we've got the double fabric. So on this next row we want to fuse this lower edge of the pocket together, and because of the way the stitches are arranged, with the far stitches ahead of the near stitches, I've got 4 stitches to work before I get to the double knit section. Now I'm at the pocket section. That's a front pocket stitch, that's a back pocket stitch. All I have to do is knit those 2 together. That's very easy, but that only works when you've got your near stitches ahead of your far stitches. If the pairs were the other way round, let's just turn these round for example, with the front stitch of the pocket coming ahead of its partner, the back stitch. If I did a knit 2 together, that would drag that back stitch around onto the front and it would look very messy. So if your stitches were arranged this way, in order to fuse the layers, you'd have to go slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, and work the 2 slip stitches together. But because our pocket is set up with the far stitches ahead of near, we can just cruise along the whole of the lower edge of the pocket, knitting 2 together until we come to the end, and then just carry on in knit, and we're back to the original number of stitches, and the pocket is all completed at the sealed end. Now all that remains to be done is to finish off the pocket top. Join me in the next clip to have a look at pocket tops.